Hi, this is Olajide from CTF Security and welcome to another interesting video on the HackTheBox series. In today's video, we are tackling TheFrizz, which is a medium-level window machine on the HackTheBox platform. On this machine, we will exploit a file write vulnerability in Gibbon-LMS. We're going to crack users' credentials, authenticate via Kerberos, and escalate privilege using group policy object abuse to gain full system privilege. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, welcome back to the channel. Now, the very first thing we want to do is to grab our URL here. So I'm going to take the frizzdc.frizz.htb and we're going to send some ping message to that. So obviously we need to remove the HTTP protocol. And you can see that this is resolving to 10.10.11.60. So I'm going to open up my etc/host file. Then you can see how I mapped this 10.10.11.60 to the actual fully qualified domain name. What we're going to do is to make sure we save this, and we can also modify this by adding the name, which is frizzDC. We can also add the frizz.htb, and we're going to save this so that we don't experience issue later on. Okay, good. So now that we have that out of the way, I'm going to just take this and probably export it to IP. So in case I need it later on. So when we now do export, okay, so 10.10. Okay, nice. Sorry about that. Echo. Yeah, good. So let's clear the screen. Now the next thing we're going to do is to perform a scan on the machine. But before we do that, let's quickly go to our directory for this video. So I'm going to move into document, then inside HTB, inside YouTube, then inside the YouTube, I'm going to go to TheFrizz, which is a directory I created for this video. Then you can see that I have some tools here already. So these are some of the binary we're going to be using for our exploitation process. You can see we have the getTGT, we have the psexec, we have secret dump, and we have the SharpGPOAbuse.exe. So having seen this, the next thing I want to do is to perform my scan. So we're going to use Nmap, we're going to use the SC for script scan, we're going to use SV for version scan, we're going to specify PN, since we're dealing with window machine, and I'm going to specify the IP, which is going to be IP, and I could as well specify ON to save it in case we need to revisit the scan. So this is going to take a while. It says Nmap 0 IP address. Okay, let me just hard code the IP address in there. Let's see if that is probably going to work. Okay, my bad. So I messed that up. So I'm going to just bring back the command Nmap. So this is supposed to be, let's call it freeze scan. And let's try that again. So I think what actually happened was instead of specifying the name for the scan, that is the name of the output of our scan, under the -on, we actually inserted our IP address into that. So that's probably the reason why we got the error in the first place. So I believe our scan has started, and we just give it a few seconds to come up. So while we're waiting, we try to explore what we have on our page, and you can see this is a web application for Walkerville Elementary School, and we have some couple of write-up on the screen, and when you scroll down, you see this is 2025, our courses. So I'm thinking this is some kind of LMS application, and you can see the pricing list. You also have a section for staff login. We do not really have any credential currently, so I'm just going to try default admin. You can see it's incorrect username and password. We can also try to check out the forgot password reset options. We also have notice due to unplanned pen test by student, WES is migrating application and to stronger secure protocols. So if you go to the URL, you see that it is actually Gibbon-LMS. Let's see. Okay, our scan is done. Okay, so we have port 22, we have port 53, which is DNS, we have port 80, which is the Apache 2.4.58, which is what is serving our web application. We also have 88, which is Kerberos. We have 139, we have LDAP, NetBIOS. Okay, good. What else do we have? Localhost, FreezeDC, OS is Windows. We all have this information already. Okay, good. So if we have a credential, it means that we might be able to SSH into that machine, but I can't seem to find the WinRM port here, but I'm just going to proceed anyway. So considering what we have on this application here, so I'm going to go back a bit here. If you go to the staff login and you scroll down, you see that we have powered by Gibbon v25.0.00 Ross Packer 2010 to 2025. So we might try to actually check what this Gibbon application is. So let's try to see if we can get the GitHub repository for this particular application. So do they have GitHub? So obviously by just typing in the Gibbon v25, we see that we already have some vulnerability options coming in. You can see we have the Gibbon v25.0.0 local file inclusion. This is the CVE. We also have Gibbon 25.0.0.1, which is file upload to RCE, which is also interesting. We have another one. This one is authenticated RCE, less than version 26, which is also interesting. All right. So I'm trying to see, can I get the Gibbon-LMS itself? Gibbon-LMS GitHub. I don't know if we actually have the code for this application on GitHub. So we have Gibbon Edu. Don't think we have much. Module ATLs. Okay, so let's just ignore that. So what we're going to do is go back to the application, and from here we can try to do another search. So this time around we're going to just say, since we found two vulnerability associated, or three rather, vulnerability associated with this particular application. So we have the local file inclusion with this CV. We also have another one, which is the one 25.0.1 is vulnerable to, which is this one. So I'm going to open this one on a new tab, and we're going to also open this on a new tab. I will not necessarily be working with the v26. So let's see what we have here. So this one is 2025, let me see, 34598, and it's saying that in order to exploit this vulnerability, an attacker would need to manipulate the queue parameter to query a local file. This manipulation would cause the file to be included in the server response. However, it is important to note that this exploit is only effective for file located within the installation folder. Okay, that sounds interesting. So what is the CVE for the second one? So let's refine our search. So let's go with .1 vulnerability GitHub. So what's the name? I need the name of the CV. Okay, good. So I think we have a name, CVE 2023-45878. So let me just stop this one. And we're just going to pick this name here. And we're going to refine our search. Let's just put GitHub. Probably we have some POC on GitHub. So if you scroll through some of the exploits, the one that looks interesting to me is this CVE 2023-45878 to RCE. So we're going to be clicking on that, and we're going to be seeing how the exploitation phase is. So we're going to open the script, which is a bash script. All right, so we have some declarations, but the main part of the code is outlined at the top right here. So it says the first thing it is doing is it's generating an MSM Venom stageless reverse shell for Windows. Then it uploads a web shell exploiting the CVE 2023. Then it download the reverse shell on the target and execute the reverse shell. So we're not going to be using MSF Venom for this exploitation. So what we need to do is to actually see the way the shell is being uploaded into the application here. And when you scroll down to, I think from line 32, you can see how the call request is being made here. So you can see it, we have call, sent it to the R host, which is our target. We also have the Gibbon-LMS trying to access the rubrics visualize save ajax.php. So I'm guessing this is the vulnerable script that we have here. So it's trying to set some HTTP headers, and it is trying to set up an image with some base64 encoding, I guess. So I'm just going to try to take this and see what this is doing. So let's go into, so let's do echo. I'm going to paste this. Then we're going to decode this. Oops. So you can see what is being injected into the application here, which is the PHP ecosystem trying to create a web shell within the system. So we're going to be crafting our own payload like this using the call command. So let's see what we're going to do. We're going to go back into the CVE and we're going to grab this command right here. So everything up until this part, I guess. And we're going to try to refine this. So let's just create a new page. And we can try to modify what we have here. So our R host is going to be the IP address of our target system. So not forgetting we have echo IP. So we're going to grab that. We're going to fix that in here. So we're going to leave the agent the way it is. The content type, we're also going to leave it at URL encoded. The image, we're going to leave the name the way it is, and also the base64 encoding. But we're going to change the name of the web shell to just shell. So it's now going to be just shell.php. So the initial name was, okay, so let's just work with shell. And we are going to take this and let's see if that's going to work. So I think everything is good. Okay, so we have some error messages we need to remove. For example, I'll just ignore all this, not useful anyway. So let's just go into the application, into the Sublime, and we're going to remove this part of it. So instead of escaping the two brackets, we're just going to do away with it. And let's see if that's going to work now. Do we still have another one? Okay, so we have another one, which is this one. I think that should be the last one. Okay, good. So you can see that our shell.php has been uploaded. So in order to access this on the application, so now we can open frizz.htb/ I think Gibbon, if I'm correct, -LMS. That should load the page. Then we can add shell. Which is the new web shell we just uploaded, shell.php. And we can actually use this to execute command cmd equals to who am I? So I think we're missing something. Okay, who am I? That looks correct. frizz.htb elements shell.php. Everything looks correct. What are we missing? So let's do something different. So what if we do call and we try to access HTTP 10.10.11.60. So it's obviously going to be port 80. And then we access the Gibbon-LMS as well. /shell.php cmd equals to who am I? Does it work? No, it doesn't. So what are we missing? HTTP. Is there something we're missing? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to approach this differently. Probably we have something missing. So let's see what this, probably this doesn't upload properly. We have the part. Let's take this once again. Let's take that again. Okay, so let's try to refine that once more. So it's practically the same thing. So we are sending the post request to the same endpoint, and we're sending the user agent, which is the HTTP header, and the content type is going to be application URL encoded. The image, we're sending the same image with the same path, which is the shell.php. So I'm going to take this and we're going to try it again. So it gets uploaded again, and we're going to make that request once again. Okay, good. So I think it's working now. So let's refresh this one. This should work. I'll just copy link address. For some reason, still not loading. So I think we're having some kind of cleanup happening. So I'm going to send it again. So maybe there's a script that keep removing this particular. Okay, good. It now works. So we have to be fast when we're trying to inject our payload. So now that we have web shell, we now know that we are currently logged in as this particular user. So this is just repeating itself twice, just like the way we have it on the terminal when we injected it. So you can see it here. So what we need to do is to find how can we convert this particular web shell to a reverse shell. And to do that, we're going to go to revshell.com. Okay, good. So you can see that this is my local IP, is still what we have here, and we're using port 444, and then we have Windows machine, and we're going to be using PowerShell. So I always like using the PowerShell 3, base 64. Where do we have it? So I think it's this one. Good. So before we send it, we're going to clear the. So I will leave this one in case I want to renewally upload my web shell again. So I'm going to just split the screen into top bottom. So let's make the top one bigger, and also this one as well. So we're going to create a listener. On port 444. So let's copy the payload, and we're going to paste it in here. So this is expected to connect us to the machine, and you can see it connect to 10.10.14.123. So let's see, who am I? We are Frizz w.web service. So we can try to see that we can access everything in this directory, and this seems to be some of the files on the Gibbon-LMS. You can see we have a lot of files there and directories. So the next thing we are going to do is, after gaining reverse shell, check out the files that we have here. We have a specific file called config. Okay, yeah, this one, config.php. So what we're going to do is try to read that file. So let's use type config.php, and this is going to display the content of the config file, and inside the content we have the information regarding the database. So we have database username, we have database password, and the database name. So we know that the database name is Gibbon, and we know that the password is this Mr. Gibbs, and we know that the database username is also Mr. Gibbs DB. So I'm going to grab this information and we're just going to put it right here. So since the first one was actually giving us error, I'm going to remove that and I'm going to paste this here. So we have credentials. Now, the next thing we want to do is find out, can we actually log in using this particular credential that we have on the machine? So what I'm going to do is, so not necessarily, so let's go back to /hdocs. So what do we have in the XAMPP directory? So I think we have MySQL, so cd MySQL. So we have the binary files for the MySQL. So we can actually use the mysql.exe to connect to the database and display the different tables that we have on this particular machine. So let's try to see how we can do that. So we can say the /mysql.exe, and we can use the -u to specify the user, which happens to be Mr. Gibson. This shell is not stable. So we also need to specify the password, which happens to be this, I guess. Yeah. So I'm going to paste that in here. And we also need to specify the database, which is equals to Gibson, or Gibbon rather. Then we're going to execute to show tables. So I think everything looks okay. We're going to execute. And you can see that we have a lot of tables. So I'm just going to grab all this so that we can have a better look on this Sublime text. So these are the different tables that we have. But one particular table for me is, I think, the one that has person. Find, not this one. Yeah, I think it's this one, this particular table. So what we might think is this Gibbon person or Gibbon person has to do with all the current users that we have on the system. So we might try to extract this table to see who and who is inside that particular table. And to do that is actually quite easy. So what we're going to do is probably bring back the last command we executed and just make some modification to it. So we already have the connection. What we just need is how we can actually see what is inside the database. So we're going to use the select everything from So we already know the table name. What was the table name? I think Gibbon. What's that table? Let me just find it again. Person. Find next. Yeah, I think this one. Hopefully that is what we are looking for. So let's go in and fix that. So select everything, all column from this particular table. And I'm going to try to execute this. Okay, so this is displaying the list of all the columns informations, but it looks pretty messed up. We have Gibbon person ID, we have title, we have surname. So I'm not really interested in all this. So what I want to filter out is the personal ID, the, let's say, username, the password strong, and the password salt. So those are just what I'm going to be extracting out. So in order to do that, we're also going to bring the last command. Then we're going to modify it. So instead of selecting everything, we want to first of all extract the Gibbon person ID. Then we need the username. I don't know if I spelled that correctly. Yes. Then we need the password strong. That's the name of the column. So we're going to use comma. Then we need the salt so that we'll be able to crack it. So let's go get that. This is the password salt. Okay, good. So I think we have all the three columns, which is important at this point. So I'm going to grab that and see if that will streamline our output to a reasonable output. Okay, good. So now we have this to be the Gibbon person ID. We have the username to be f.frizzle, and we have the password strong. We have the password strong salt. So I'm going to just grab everything here, and I'm going to take this. So I might need to also grab the personal or the person ID. So let me just put it right here. So, but what is important right now is this particular hash file and the salt. So what we're going to do is to format them by placing them side by side. I'm going to grab this and we're going to create a file called hash. I'm going to paste it in here and I'm going to save. So the next thing we need to do is to crack this hash. But first thing we might want to do is grab this hash. So I don't know if the hash ID will take the actual hash and the salt together, but we're just going to try it. So we can try to do hash ID to know what kind of hashing algorithm this is. So it's trying to tell me that it might be SHA-256. Okay, can we do let's just go online instead. Let's say SHA-256 and salt cracking. Let's refine that. Cracking SHA 256 and salt using hashcat. So you might as well use John, but let's just see if we can have something. Is this giving us anything reasonable? Let's see. One 1410. Could that be the... So let's see. Hashcat. Okay, so let's grab it. SHA 256. I was wrong. Sorry about that. Grab. Password and hash. So it's actually probably we use this one or this one to actually crack it. So but because I've done this before, so I'm just going to use the second one, which is the 1420. So to do that, we have to make sure we have our hash file in our current directory, which is cat hash. Yeah, so we have the hash file. So we're going to use hashcat. The module we're going to be using is 1420, and we're going to be specifying the hash. We're going to specify our rock file, which is usr/share/wordlist/rocku.txt. So this is, what is this? I think this is because I have cracked it before. All hashes found on this. Okay, so I can just do show. Can I do that? Good. So this is because I've cracked that before, but if you're doing it for the first time, it will definitely run for a few amount of seconds before actually outputting the actual password. So we found our password to be Jenny Loves Magic. So we're going to grab that. So now we have a credential. Password. So now what we can try to do is to try to enumerate this window machine to see if there's any use of password reuse on the machine. And the very first thing I can do is try to see, can we do net exec? Sorry. Then try LDAP. Since we found LDAP in the Nmap scan, then we can try 10.10.11.60, which is the IP address of the target. The user, what was the user we got? Frizzle. And then the password which we just cracked. Was the password, which is Jenny Loves Magic. Nope. Nothing. Running NXC against 3 targets. Oh, do we really have any issue? I don't think so. Can we do SMB? Okay. Let's try something different. First of all, I want to do net user here. So let's do something. So let's tell ChatGPT to take all the name of all these users, list all the name of all these users. So we might need to do a password spray for all the accounts within the machine. So I'm going to copy everything. So I think we have about 21, and we're going to do Sublime. We're going to call it users.txt. Let's just call it users. I'm going to paste it. Oops, why do we have excess space? I need to find. I don't think I've done this find and replace before. Or find replace. So we're finding space and we are replacing it with new line. Does it work? Place all? Nope, nope, nope. So let's just quickly fix that. Oops. Okay, so I'm going to save that. And can we spray it? So instead of specifying, so I believe we now have user. Okay, good. So let's run that again. Hold up. So it looks like we can't really authenticate using password. Sorry, I need to change the user to users. That's correct. Then let's specify K to continue on success. I think everything looks okay. Still some issues running NXC. So I'm thinking probably when we get a ticket, everything will probably be okay. But first, let's try to do sudo ntp update to sync our time, ntp date, okay, so I think we've done that. Can we try this again? Okay, so let's try to see one more thing before I continue. I was supposed to use this one initially. All right, so we're still having the same issue. Can we scat our sc/host to still make sure that we're good? So I think we are. All right, good. So what we're going to do is, since that was actually for the user was actually for f.frizzle, what we can do is we can try to get the ticket for this particular user. And before I can do that, I will need to go to my virtual environment. So need to activate it because I need to use some in-packet tool right there. So let's go back to the initial directory. Okay, good. So we can now use Python 3, the getTGT.py. Then we can specify freeze f.frizzle. Okay, I think one of the issue before I do this, we need to set up our, just a second please. I might need to set my Kerberos configuration file. So we're going to be using this. So let me just quickly do a quick setup on that. So let's cut kr, remove krb. So let's do that again. Oh, I didn't get that completely. Just a second. I still have an error. Okay, good. I think we still keep getting that issue. Oh, I should be double cut, which is quite wrong. Okay, good. So when we do cut ARB, so this is going to be our Kerberos configuration file. And you can see that what we just set up there is our RAMs. We also set the domain RAMs and also the domain admin server and our Kerberos DC. So I'm going to, having fixed that issue, I'm now going to set our or export our ARB5 underscore config to be equals to this particular directory where we have the KRB5 configuration file. So let's just use pwd slash krb5.config. So I think that looks correct. So now when we say echo all right, cool. So can we now try the spraying and try to see if that was the issue? Running against 3 targets. Why do we have that issue? So I'm just going to ignore that for now, but I don't think we should be getting that kind of error message. So what we're going to do is do Python 3. We're going to use the getTGT, and then we're going to specify the frizz.htb / the account name, which is frizzle, f.frizzle. Then we're going to specify frizzle's credential, good. And then we're going to use K, and the DC-IP is equals to 10.10.11.60. Let's see. So what we're trying to do is trying to get a ticket. So now we have a ticket called f.frizzle.ccache. So I can do ls. So you can now see the new cache ticket which we got. We can as well use, we can do export krb5 cc name to be equals to the new file we just created using the getTGT. I'm going to paste this. Okay, so I think we're good. Let's see. Okay, so still the same thing. Can we use the netexec? or we can have frizzd.frizz.htb, and we have the domain to be frizz.htb. We don't need authentication using, so since our authenticating using password is failing, we're just going to use the Kerberos ticket which we got earlier. So we're going to use pay and use pay cache. That's correct. Okay. Let's see what else we can do. Can I do... Let's stop that. Oh my God. I think that was the issue. We were trying to use what was the one failing? This particular IP. So it was not actually resolving to the fully qualified domain name. Okay, makes sense. And we still got let me just make this a bit smaller. Let's bring this down a bit. Okay, so let's try something. I'll just clear the screen. So let's try the net exec one more time. But we are using LDAP. Don't know why I have this here. Let's see if that's going to authenticate. I think it is. We can authenticate using this Kerberos ticket, and you see that NTLM is set to false. So whenever we need to log in on the machine, we'll probably need to request for a Kerberos ticket and then use that to access the SSH of the application. So before we move ahead, we can try something different. For example, we can try to gather the data, the object within the application, so that we can review and map the application using Bloodhound. So to do that, we're actually going to, let's open a new tab for that. Or rather, since I want it to be on the same directory, I'll just stick with this one. So let's just clear the screen. So we can go with Rust found CE, and then we can specify the frizz.htb, and then we can use f.frizzle -p. Then the password is, not forgetting, Jenny loves magic. So we're going to paste that in here. That is expected to gather the data, and you can see it. What it is doing is gathering the LDAP object and other information so that we'll be able to use it to map the application later on. So everything is done. Let's see. You can see that we have a lot of JSON files in our current directory. So what we can do is to zip. So we can call it Frizz lab or Frizz Bloodhound .zip, and we can zip every files that ends with .json. So I think that works. So we now have our files here. Now we can delete all the files. So remove everything that end with .json. Good. So the next thing we're going to do is to import this data into Bloodhound. So I think I've already done that, but let me just show you how the importation process would be. So what you need to do is sudo docker start. I think the name is Bloodhound graph. You need to have this installed, by the way, db1, I guess. Going to start that. Okay, so I think that has started. The next thing we want to start is the app, which is going to be Bloodhound app db1, and that will start up the app database as well. And lastly, we need to start the Bloodhound -Bloodhound-1. So I need to locate where I have the Docker compose file. Oh, I think it's in 2 or something. Okay, I think it's here. So temporarily, I'm going to cd to this directory, and you can see what we have there. Now we can run sudo docker compose up. And what this is going to do is to start up our Bloodhound. So now if we go to localhost on port 9090 UI/login, we should be able to access the Bloodhound. Did I get that correctly? So we have our Bloodhound. I'm going to log in as admin, and just give me a moment to pull up my password for my Bloodhound. I'm just going to paste that in here. So while that is loading, in case you are confused of, where those commands I was running were coming from, all the docker start Bloodhound blah blah blah, you can as well run sudo after installing Bloodhound docker, and you can do ps, I guess, all. So it's going to list all the names. So let me just rerun that so you can see their names. So let's go into the Bloodhound. So if this is the first time, what you can do is go to administrator and then you can upload the zip file here. But since I already have it uploaded, you can see it here. I do not want to have duplicate data in my Bloodhound, so I'm going to just assume that I have uploaded this file. This is just probably going to take about 1 or 2 minutes for it to successfully ingest into the application. So after uploading, once you see complete, you just go to explore, and then you can come to here. Currently we have access to f.frizzle, so just search f.frizzle, and you can see that this is the account here. You can add it to own currently. Just right click and click on own, and if you check this application here, you can map the members that this account belongs to. So when you click on members, you see that it belongs to authenticated users, everyone, domain users, remote management users, and also users.frizzle. If we go to inbound object, so its inbound object control include key admin, account operator, domain admin, enterprise, administrator, v.frizzle, administrator, and enterprise key. So since we know that the f.frizzle account is a member of remote management user, we can try to SSH into this account. And to do that, what we need to do is I'm just going to move to our previous directory we're working from. That was wrong, my bad. Okay, so we're going to run from this directory here. So let's just continue since we have our ticket here. So let's try to SSH into the box using the Frizzle account. We're going to specify our KRB5, which we declared earlier. Remember, I think KRB5 CC name. Yeah, good. So we're going to use that by using the KRB 5 CC name equals to the name of the file is frizzle f.frizzle, and we're going to specify SSH. We're going to use Kerberos to authenticate, and the account we want to authenticate to is f.frizzle at frizzle.htb, which is the, did I get that correctly? FrizzDC, that's wrong. The fully qualified domain name is frizzDC.frizz.htb. Yeah, I think that's correct now. So we can decide to specify verbose and try to see if that is going to log us in. Okay, so we got permission denied. So probably something is wrong. So first of all, I want to still verify my SC/hosts. So there's probably something we're not doing right yet. So the name is correct.
unlock your mind and lose the key. There's a universe inside you. You should never have to hide. I can see the stars inside you. Please just open up your eyes. There's a universe inside you. So much more than people know. I've seen you fighting your emotion. I hope you stay and won't let go. There's a universe inside you. So much love to leave behind. Stop the path of devastation. You should live for all the hype.
Let's just run it from here. CD HTB.
Inside you, you've got to give it room to breathe. So let the universe excite you, 'cause that's the way it's meant to be.
Okay, so I think we're moving close to the solution here. Let's try to see. Okay, destroy. Okay, so I think this is the first time we're actually getting this correctly. But it looks like the issue was with this terminal. Let me just try something. See, I keep getting the same error on this terminal here. Probably it's because of the environment. So if that works, can we actually spray? This has been crazy. View users.txt. We're going to paste our login credential in there. And we're going to use Kerberos. Continue on success. Then variables. I will just ignore the variables. I think I have the credential one of these places. Let's just grab it here again. I think this is similar issue. Okay, I think we got it right this time around. Oh yes, we did. Okay. The first user failed. Oh god, this took a very long time. So instead of not supported, we're now getting ADC error client instead. And we've been able to see that this is actually the credential for f.frizzle. So let me just grab that command in case I need to quickly run that again. Okay, good. So the next thing we want to do is to test the login now. Here, hopefully we won't experience any issue. So I think I already have it on this one. I hope we won't have any issue. Oh yes, we're in. Wow. Oh my god. So I believe since we've solved the issue, I think we won't experience any of such issues again. So let's just do dir. Who am I? Why do I keep spelling who am I wrongly? So you can see that we're currently logged in as f.frizzle. Another thing we can do is we can do who am I, to try to see the kind of privilege we have. Or you can as well do who am I / all. To try to see all the privileges that we have. So these are the groups we belong to. I believe we saw something like this on the Bloodhound. These are the privileges. But what we are going to do is we're going to try to check the recycle bin. So let's do get child item false, or instead, let's do that again. Let's do get, do I keep spelling that wrongly? Get child item, and let's do a path we want to specify, and we want to specify the recycle bin. So we're going to escape that using the tick symbol. What we're escaping is the dollar symbol. We're going to specify recycle dot bin. Then we're going to force, then recurse to check all the files. So I think that's correct. That's strange. I probably let me just stop that. Did I mess that command up? Path c / recycle.bin / recurse. That's correct, obviously. So why do I have, can I bring back the command? Can I just have this in quote? Probably this might be the reason. Still the same thing. Why is it checking here? Okay. So we're going to try a different approach then. Oh, okay. My bad. I think I've seen my error. That was me. Well, that's correct. Still correct. So let's try a different approach. Let's do cdc. And from here, let's do gci pause to view hidden files. And this is where we are trying to go to. So we can do cd, and we can do encode dot /, and then we can specify the backtick, or we just specify the recycle bin, just since we have everything in code already. So we're just going to use, let me do that again, cd dot /, we have the dollar symbol, we have recycle dot bin. Going to close that, and I think that should work. What do you mean by does not exist? No, this is still going to put it differently. Still the same thing. Okay. Can we do that again? Oh, finally. So it finally worked without the quote around the recycle bin.bin. So what we're going to do is do dir from this directory, and since nothing is inside, then we could do another get item dash force, and you can see what we have here. So we're going to grab that, we're going to cd to that directory, and let's see what's in that directory. So it looks like we have just one file currently, so probably the other one might be. So first let's grab this in case we need to come back here. We do get content ie2x meg.7z. Says it does not exist because we forgot to add the dollar symbol. Still the same thing because we need to escape this. Probably, yeah. So this file here looks like a metadata that is pointing to WAPT backup sunday.zip. So probably someone might have retrieved this file before, but I'll just try to look for this file. So let me quickly get command that we can use to find. So I like using this one, but we need to do a bit of modification to it. The parts might need to modify this to Oops. I think the modification will be better here. That shell is not stable. So change this to C. And we're looking for, what was the name again? So let's just try this first and see. Obviously some part will be denied. Since we're logged in as f.frizzle, why do we still have f.frizzle? Okay, this is for v.frizzle. Okay, that makes sense. Oh, instead, let me just refine that. Instead of waiting, we'll just specify our current directory so that I can start searching from there. So I'm not sure it saw anything. So what I'm going to do is cdc user Okay, so let's do the search we did earlier. Where do I have the command? The previous search. The get child item. So it's still the same file. Okay, so let's find wherever the file is, So we're supposed to be seeing two files here. So I wonder, probably it's because the machine is not stable. Let's go there and let's look for something different instead. Nothing. So we're supposed to have this file. Let's check again. So I wonder where this file is. I think we checked some information about it earlier. I think we did. Okay, so I found it. So this is a copy of it, and we have 7-zip here as well. We have ncat here. So what we can try to do is try to either unzip this file, we can download it locally to our machine for us to be able to unzip it. So let's quickly unzip. So we can use 7z. I've not used this before. I don't know. Probably it's the same way the 7-zip A works. We need to specify x, and then we specify the dot slash x, then dot slash WAPT or instead of this, let me just move this file. So we can copy WAPT, copy the file to C /users/frizz f.frizzle /desktop. Okay, good. So let's go to that directory. CD, not copy CD instead. So we have the file here, and already I didn't actually view the users.txt flag. So this is supposed to be our first flag. This is so slow. Okay, good. So this is supposed to be our first flag. Then we can use 7-zip, which is supposed to be from this directory, and temp 7zz.exe. And the file we want to unzip. This is too fast. That didn't work. Unexpected token. What's the problem? What's the issue? Okay. So one more problem. I think there was one other one I found. So let's just quickly unzip them using 7cz.exe. Okay, the file X and the path to the output. Okay, that's -o. So let's see if we can modify that. So this is the file, then O will specify, so let's just call it WAPT. Still some error. Let's try to give it to because this is what I used initially. Let's try to just see. No luck. All right. So what we're going to do is to look for 7-zip. I think there's this one I usually use on HackTheBox, trying to get the directory for the file. Okay, good. So what we're going to do is we're going to paste the path to this one, and then we're going to use X, then we're going to use the /, the WAPT backup -Sunday.7z. So I don't think we need to specify the output name, so let's try it. So this one is actually working. So it's done. Now we have the WAPT. So we have a lot of files to process, so we can as well try checking each of the file one after the other, but that is going to take a hell lot of time. So what we're going to be doing is to be looking for a specific word called password. So just like I did before, so I'm going to change this one to password, and let's try to do that search. Oh no, we have to use the path to be /. You can see that we have a lot of files that contain the word password, but if you scroll up, there's this particular line that says WAPT password, and we have this. So I'm going to grab that and the file name is the WAPT server.ini. So we can try to add this here, and this looks like a base 64. So I'm going to quickly do some decoding. So let's do echo. So we're going to pipe this into this 64 decode, and this happens to look like a password. So we're going to grab that and we're going to put that in here as the WAPT password. So what we can try to do again is try to use this to spray the different pieces within the box, and I think we had a command for that, okay, which is this one. So we're going to bring back this command and we're going to use a new credential to see if there's any password we use. And we're going to run. So I don't think there's any other thing we need to do here. So we can probably exit this f.frizzle account. So let's use exit. And let's try to use a new password to spray this. Okay, I think we have found a hit, which is the M.Schoolbus. So what we're going to do is to request for another ticket. So we can use this Python. So this time around, we're requesting for M.Schoolbus. Let's just grab that and put it right here. So that's going to be the username. And we're going to use the new password. So we might want to put this in quotes. Did I capture everything? Okay, good. Let's verify once more. Good. Let's try to authenticate. So we have a ticket, I guess. M.Schoolbus. So what we can do now is try to do export KRB5 CC. I hope we don't have any issue again. equals to m dot, not here, I was wrong. So we also need to change the config, or we can just leave the config. I don't think that is going to affect anything. So we can as well bring the KRB, and then we can modify the school bus. Just the name. We can also change the cache information. Good. What else do we need to change? Don't think we need to modify anything. Good. I think we're in. So we're logged in as M.Schoolbus. We can say who am I /all, and you can see the different groups M.Schoolbus belong to, and it happens that one of the group happens to be the group policy creator owners. So you can see it here. And what else? Think that is that for now. You can also go to the Kerberos here, and you can try to search for M.Schoolbus. Let's see. These are the outbound control. Administrator at Freeze. What are the members? Okay, good. So you can see group policy creator owner here on the members. And you can see how this plays out. I think I have one more. Probably few more. Just to have a better view. But in order not to waste time, because we spent much time on the initial access, we're just going to go straight to the point. Now, if we come back here, what we can do is to download the SharpGPOAbuse.exe binary, which is what we're going to use to abuse this group policy. I think I have that in one of my directories here. I'm going to provide a download link for the SharpGPOAbuse.exe, because if you're downloading from or if you're cloning from the official GitHub repository, you might need to do the compilation yourself, but you can as well use the already compiled binary file for your exploitation. So we're quickly going to create Python 3-m, create a local server. Let's go with on port 80, and then we can quickly download that. So hopefully we have something we can use to download on PowerShell, which is the invoke web request. So actually very simple to use. Invoke. Let's just craft this so that we can avoid this unstable shell. So invoke web request. We're going to specify the URI, and that is going to be our machine, which is HTTP 10.10.11.60 on port 8000. The file name is going to be SharpGPOAbuse. I hope I got that correctly. And the output of the file is going to be, that is where we're going to place the file. So we'll probably place it on the current account desktop. So let's use C, users M.Schoolbus / desktop / then the name of the file, which is going to be SharpGPOAbuse.exe. You can as well rename it, but I don't think we have any script deleting files on this machine. So I think with this, we should be good to go. I'm going to grab that and we're going to execute. Something is wrong. Oops. This was wrong. This is the target. We need to use the local IP, which is 10.10.14.123, I guess, which is my IP right here. Think that should work. Still issue. A position parameter. Invoke web requests. Another silly mistake. The URI. Okay. Hopefully this works. So let's check if it's downloading. So you can see that a GET request has been sent to our local server. So that means it's actually downloading this file. You can do dir cd desktop dir, and you can see that this is the file we just uploaded into the target system. So what we can do next is to create and link the group policy object. And to do that, I'm going to be using new -gpio. Let's do that here. New -gpo. So we're going to call it maybe ctfsec, or let's just call it please subscribe. And we're going to use the GP, I hope that's correct, GP link. We're going to specify the target to be the organization unit, which is equals to the domain controllers. The DC is equals to freeze, and the DC is also equals to HTB. Then we can use the link to enable this. So I think It should be okay. So let's see if that is going to work. So if this works, the next thing we're going to do is to use the SharpGPOAbuse file we just uploaded to add a user. So if this works, what we're going to do is to use the SharpGPOAbuse file we just uploaded to add the user M.Schoolbus as a local administrator on all the machines affected by the group policy we just created now, which is the please subscribe. Then we're going to specify first to ensure that it applies even if there's conflict within the configurations. So primarily what we're trying to do is we're trying to escalate M.Schoolbus to local admin via the group policy object called please subscribe. So to actually proceed, this is an indication that we have successfully created our policy. So we can go to where we have our sharp bond. So we can do, let me just do it here, // sharp and SharpGPOAbuse.exe. We can add local admin, and the user account is going to be M.Schoolbus, which is our account, and the GPO name we're using is going to be please subscribe. You can as well put this in quotes in case you're using special characters, and then we can use the first. So we're going to execute this and see if it works. Unknown argument. So I think I messed something up. User account, that should be here, I guess. Good. Could not retrieve the GPO GID. The GPO name was invalid. That's strange. Subscribe. That was the same name. The group UID. Try to correct that. We're going to check that again. The GPO name. Make sure the GPO name is correct. That we're using the exact name, which is what I'm using. Still the same thing. Let's see. Probably it's because net user net local group admin So what could be the issue? So let's just create a new policy. Just as07, and then we're going to use the tab on data to also use this. Okay, good. So I wonder where that issue was from, probably from the spelling or so. We're just going to ignore that since it's actually working fine using just as07 as the group GPO name. So now when we check the net local group administrator, because what we're trying to do is try to add our current user, which is M.Schoolbus, into the administrator group. And you can currently see that these are the members of the administrator currently, which is v.frizzle administrator. Then we have domain admin and enterprise admin. But now when we first update on the group policy using the GP update, and we use force, you can see it's updating policies. Computer policy update has completed successfully. Now when we check the net local group administrator, you can see that now the new member of the administrator group is now administrator and M.Schoolbus. So that means we can now log in with a high privilege account, which is the NT authority, using the psexec. So now when we go to, I just stop this server here. So we have our psexec.py. So when we use the psexec.py frizzle.htb/m.schoolbus at frizz DC, I think that's correct, .frizz.htb. We need to specify Kerberos and no password. Not sure this is going to work. I know. I think that was because we have the issue of the. So let's try to echo $ARB5 CC name. So this is still. But I don't think that's the case. But anyway, I'm still going to export it. Okay, so we're in. So now when we say who am I, who am I, so now we are NT authority. So we can go into C/users/administrator cd desktop, and we should have our root.txt. So we can cut root.txt, sorry, type root.txt, and we can see that this is our root flag, and we have successfully done privilege escalation from the M.Schoolbus account into a full-blown administrator privilege. And from here, we can decide to change any user's password and change it to whatever we want. For example, you can say net users. I was wrong. That's going to work anyway. k.frizzle. I think I saw v.frizzle, which is one of the administrator the other time. Okay, so this is it. We can decide to say net user v.frizzle. We'll change it to new at pass 1 2 3 or something like this. You can see the command actually executed successfully. So if we take this, think here, so if we say nxc, just want to verify the password actually changed. We spray with this password now. Okay, so we got a hit, which is the v.frizzle account, which means the account password has actually been changed. Okay guys, that will be all for this video. Please, if you've learned one or two things from this video, please kindly make sure you like, subscribe and share, and I'll see you in the next video.